The Pope and Young Club wants to welcome you as we rally together to ensure our bow hunting opportunities for today and tomorrow. You've come to the podcast that believes in preserving, protecting, and promoting the passion for bow hunting. Join us as we strive to be the voice of today's bow hunter. This is the Pope and Young Podcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Pope and Young Podcast. Jason Roundsville here, joined as always by my co-host Dylan Ray. And we have with us one of, I'll call it a new friend. We just had a chance to meet at convention. Anyway, we have Eric Bethune with us today, one of our brand new certified world records. Eric, welcome, man.
Thanks, buddy. Good to be here.
Hey, we're excited to have you. So this was your first convention then?
First convention, first panel, first rodeo.
So, you know, that's just how you gonna go to the next rodeo now? Because now, so people that don't know,
spectating.
first rodeo, first panel, first convention. You had what? 3 animals at panel?
3 animals, yep. Elk, Tule Elk, Muskox, Polar Bear.
So a polar bear, a muskox, both invited to panel, and a Tule Elk that just happened to be crowned as the new world's record.
Just so happened to be, yep. Phenomenal year, man. It's just one of those lucky, just once in a lifetime things.
No, it's not once in a lifetime. You killed 3 in 2 years.
3 times.
It's not once in a lifetime.
That's just 3 right there. I'm like,
that's it.
Yeah,
it's gonna be tough to beat that season, but it's gonna be super fun to try.
If I ever go to a new convention, I want to go in like Eric. Bam!
Yeah,
just kick the door.
You know what's funny, Jay, is when I see him, I didn't know who he was, and we had messaged back and forth on Instagram and stuff, but when I saw him, I didn't know who he was. I said, "Good God, son!" I said, "You could go bear hunting with a switch."
I don't fit the description.
And then later on, I figured out that he did in fact kill a polar bear with a stick bow and a muskox and a world record. I'm like, golly. So my statement wasn't too far off.
Man, that's cool. So which one of those 3, and obviously you got a whole room behind you, but of those 3 were all last season?
They were last year, and they were not initially booked that way. I booked my muskox with Americana back in, I want to say I booked it in 17 for 2020, and it wound up getting canceled 3 days before it was supposed to take off for COVID. Of course, it got pushed off in 21. 22 was the first spot. The polar bear just kind of fell in my lap, and the Thule got booked in 19 for 22. So that was always, where it was supposed to be. But just the way everything kind of came together was just, about a 6-month period of me constantly being somewhere else and, the backyard shooting and, studying vital shots and that whole thing. And it was a crazy year, to say the least.
Man, I guess, a lot of people have crazy years. I'd say that's crazy good.
Yeah.
That's a crazy good.
And to be successful, it's not like I was purposely chasing a specific animal. These were all first animal to come in, first day, just get it done. So it was
wow.
Just
Dylan
luck.
and I, Dylan and I have that same exact philosophy. Only where we hunt, the first thing to come in is always a fork and horn.
Hey, I like shooting. I like pulling the trigger. If I'm going to hunt, Tule Elk, I'm going to shoot Tule Elk. If he comes in the first day, I got to shoot. I'm not to the point yet where I'm picky. I just want to get the experience and get the animal. So, it just worked out. It all came together.
So what are you shooting? What kind of bow?
So primarily I shoot, actually I'm just getting the phase 4 tuned up right now, but primarily I'm on a Matthews. I just put the Traverse down. I shot it for, I want to say 3 or 4 years. It was just a workhorse. That bow just fits perfect. When I switch over to the trad stuff, I shoot at tall tines. My buddy, Mike got me on him. I think it was the first bear camp I ever went to, like back in 18. And he wound up buying the company, so it's, it's not bad to shoot a bow where, the buddy that runs the shop. So, and they do the job for me. They're quick, they're quiet, they look good. It checks all the boxes. And plus I got his number. I can just text him whatever and say, hey man, what's this? And, so that's always good. As far as arrows, I'm a Black Eagle guy. Yeah. I'm shooting carnivores out of the compound and, the vintage out of the recurve.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
Jason, we talked about this with Luke Brewster and how it just couldn't happen to a better guy.
yeah.
And after spending some time with Eric at convention, I can say the same thing. I'm like, man, he's just a good guy. Like,
Appreciate that.
I'm glad it happened to a guy that's just there to have fun and appreciates what happened and, just enjoys it. And it was a pleasure to get to meet you, man. And
Absolutely.
I couldn't be more stoked for you because it literally couldn't have happened to a better guy.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was fun because I was walking around. I don't even remember what night it was because I don't think I stopped from the time I got to Reno till the time I left.
Oh, I was busy.
And I was rolling just outside the banquet hall, and I think you were taking pictures with some folks in front of that big Pope and Young backdrop. And I'm like, man, that's so cool. That's somebody that's having fun and just enjoying life.
It was awesome.
It was just
for sure.
It was a neat little snapshot to just be kind of outside looking in. That was kind of a cool deal.
Absolutely.
So 3 animals to panel, which is just so that's a huge accomplishment. Like a lot of hunters have hunted their whole life and never had anything invited to panel. So just to have 1 is an honor. To have 3 is way up there. So I know just before we started recording, we were looking at your polar bear. Would you mind taking everybody back there to look at this thing?
Not at all. Let me get you guys flipped around here. We'll take the tour.
Yeah, right. This is for me.
I guess we'll spin them off right here at the Muskox, the moose. This was I got him at Rick Vischer's place. That was day 6 of an 8-day hunt. They'll walk you to death in that place, man. It's a moose hunt. It was not easy. Let's see. We got the goat here. Got this at Dennis Zadra's place. That was a 4-day hunt. And we got the full Alaska experience on this one. The wind, the cold, the rain, the whole thing.
That's
day 4 just came together. Yep. Jim Kelly sprinkles pixie dust on everything he touches, and anybody that says otherwise, I would disagree with. I mean, the detail. You can't tell this from look. Maybe you can. He's just got a little bit of to his head. Not much, but just a little bit. But just that little bit gives him so much more character. It's stuff like that makes Jim a complete wizard. I mean, other than the fact that, look at this cat's face. He's even got the detail on here with the little every angle. You turn the lights off, his eyes glow. He brought the eyes in from Russia because apparently as you trace around the Russia eyes, the glow stays with it. The ones from America don't. They probably got uranium in it or something. There you go. Yeah. Bison, got that at South Dakota, Northern Plains. Big Chunkus, Polar Bear, Kanati,
cool. Big guy.
Absolute home run on this thing. Scars on the face. I mean, they couldn't have got this better if they had the actual animal in front of them. The detail on this thing it's world class. It really is.
So for those of you who can't see this, if you're just listening, we appreciate you being here, but he is showing us a polar bear mount. It's a replica of his polar bear, and they went right down like on the details, like they put scars and everything like that match his actual bear. It's really impressive.
Yeah,
now, what number was that? Was that number 3?
With a compound, he's 24th. With the recurve, he's 4th. And it actually bumped Arthur Young and a record he held from 1926. Absolutely just phenomenal. It ties with like guys like Tom Miranda. I mean,
wow.
That's pretty. Art Young, Tom Miranda. That's pretty good company, I'd say.
For a kid from Harnett County, it's not too shabby.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
anything else you want to see more specific on the mounts, or are we good?
I like seeing it because for me, I know I love our polar bear, and my staff just does not appreciate that I ask him to pack the polar bear and bring it.
Let me get the detail on this pad real quick if you guys can see it. I mean, even the pad it has a hint of he got a little bit of dirt on there. I mean, just every little detail was covered on this thing.
Nice. It looks great.
Yeah, incredible.
That is awesome.
It's I think and I've seen their stuff, and I think their polar bears are some of their better. Some of them are like, you can tell it's not, but the polar bears look really good, and especially that one with the scars and everything on the face. That's pretty spectacular.
Yeah, everything was pretty solid. I mean, I think I got that thing back in less than 7 months. So it was not too shabby. But I guess they wanted to make the tours with it. So, kind of show them off a little bit. So I got lucky there.
Now, out of the three, obviously the Tule would be the best trophy, but out of the three, which hunt was the best?
Or is the Tule, like, of the three, which one do you consider your biggest trophy?
Honestly, I didn't, going into the polar bear hunt, I watched every video, I read every thread. And, I assumed the dogs would have this guy kind of corralled pretty good so I could, maneuver around with the recurve. And it did not shake out that way. The dogs didn't do anything. There was 2 dogs that paid attention to it. And that made it super sketchy because they were on the back side of them and we were on the opposite side of them. So there was really no buffer. And when he spun around and finally looked at us at 30 yards, he came straight at me. There was not a nanosecond of hesitation. I peeled off expecting to hear gunshots, and he grabbed me and stopped me. I guess the dogs kind of chased him, kind of triggered a chase response when he ran, and it pulled him back over. And he basically grabbed me, and I pulled back up and ran and got my recurve because I dumped it, first. I'm just getting the hell out of here. And I ran up to where I thought I was coming.
Fight or flight.
Recurve just gone. So, I ran up to where I thought I was, decent, because he's got his attention on the dogs. I threw a quick range on him at 25 and just looped one into him. And heart dropped. It was forward and it almost got his arm. It looked like it hit his arm. And maybe 50% penetration. I'm thinking it got all in it's just his arm. Wound up getting the top of his heart and the bottom of his lungs in 40 yards and just dumped on his back. And that charge, I think the adrenaline shot from that charge, I didn't think right for days. Like, even thinking about it now, it kind of sets the hair on me. And as far as, being scared as an adult, it's not like when a man threatens you or getting in a car wreck, like an animal's after you that doesn't give a damn about any rules. And it's just, I get shaky now just even thinking about it. It was, if I knew what I was getting into, but to begin with, it would have been a compound hunt for sure.
Although now you've done it with the recurve. Now, so that's so cool.
I couldn't do it again. I wouldn't do it again.
Really?
It was honestly too much. It was too much. Yeah. I would say that adrenaline rush, because it was just, even now I'm getting like a little weird just even thinking about being in the situation. It's different. It's different.
How close
I guess it's different for a reason. What's that?
How close did he get to you in that initial jump towards you?
I don't know. As soon as he looked at us, he literally lunged. And as soon as I saw him coming, I just peeled off. The distance he covered while I had my back turned, I couldn't tell you. But I was 30 yards at that point. So, if he bounded twice, he could have cut the distance to 15 yards pretty quickly.
Wow.
But it was, in that situation, everything happened so fast. And,
dude, that's when you kick the outfitter.
We were at the tent for 3.5 hours on that.
That's when you kick the outfitter in the knee before you start running. That way you can get away, dude.
Yeah, exactly. It wouldn't have stopped him. It would have just been an extra swipe before he got to me and made another one. It was just, the size of this animal. It looks like you're shooting an arrow at a civic. It is just a beast of an animal. And
I like when in your description, the part that gets me is I'm out of here. Like, stuff's flying. I turned around. I was expecting to hear gunshots. And then my outfitter grabs me and says, "Hey man, put an arrow on that thing." So it's
one of those things. When you're that close to something, something moving that fast and that pissed off, it's the decision to run is made instantly.
Yeah.
There's no hesitation. Yeah.
Wow. So would you consider the polar bear to be your biggest trophy, your most significant trophy? Okay.
I would say so.
That's
absolutely.
So cool.
And it's just, and to have it done with a recurve, that's a pretty short list as well. And at the time going out, I really didn't know. I just thought it would be a cool opportunity, to kind of take the recurve for a walk. And so to be in a group of guys on that list is kind of to me, that's something.
I heard a statistic the other day, and I have not fact checked it. So, but they say that I forget what the number was, but like 20 times more people have summited Everest than have shot a polar bear with a bow.
Really?
Yeah. And I forget what the number was. Maybe it's 10, maybe it's 2. I can't, but yeah, more people climb Mount Everest than shoot polar bears with bows. That's kind of cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
But no,
But yeah,
congratulations.
it was definitely one of those things that there's no comparison to anything else I've ever done.
Wow.
Ever. Yeah.
So how about now? Was the Muskox the same trip, or was that a different
The
trip?
Muskox was in March, and that was another interesting hunt. That was a first day hunt. I actually lost the coin flip on that one. The old first shot coin flip. And, the first group we see, my buddy Mike, he was a gun hunter. So, he was up the bat. There was only 3 in the group. And one was a clear shooter. The other was, just nothing I was really interested in. So, it's one of those situations where, okay, he's going to take the first good one. And, tomorrow we'll just get after mine. We make a plan. They go one way, we go the other. I hear a gunshot go off, and one of the smaller ones kind of kicks. I'm like, what? No. Then he drops. I'm thinking, give me the recurve. Let's go. And I don't know if he shot by mistake or if the guide got confused or what happened on the other side of the hill. But the smaller one got shot. He had everything I was looking for. I mean, his hide was perfect. Everything that I'd read that I, wanted to see, I was seeing it. So, to me, it was like, it's the first day, but he's right here. And, put a bad shot on to begin with. I think it was because I was after him for 45 minutes doing this until I finally got the shot and I wound up shooting low. Ironically, it was about the same place that shot went on the Polar Bear, which is why my heart dropped on that hunt. Anyhow, he wound up running out and I got a shot at him at 30 yards, and that one sealed the deal. But the Arctic, there's something about hunting the Arctic. I've been on several hunts, Oregon, California, stuff like that. But something about the Arctic is different. It's one of the places I've got to go back to. There's just nothing like it. Somebody said it was like scuba diving on the moon. And I think that's an accurate description because it just feels so unhospitable. You just feel like you're right on the cusp of making a slight mistake that's going to have massive implications if it's not, handled correctly. And it's to be in that situation chasing critters, man, it's not like sitting in a tree stand or, hunting over water. It's like scuba diving on the moon. And I got to go back at some point.
That's awesome.
What do you want to hunt next time you go?
I think I could do a little bit better on the muskox, to be honest. I really do. It's one of those things that, there's so many up there and you've got so much time. If, you got some guys that want to ride you around looking for them, I think I could do a little bit better on it. And I'd love to go back. And my guys, OJ and Randy, super good dudes, they take you around. And we actually had some beluga whale with them. And if you've never had beluga whale with a little bit of soy sauce, just raw, highly recommend.
Huh.
That's, I was fishing actually off the Oregon coast years ago, and we caught a bluefin tuna, and the thing was, it was small. It wasn't, 2 feet long.
Go at them right there.
Yeah, they literally, my buddy Dennis is like, "Where's the knife?" And it was like, it was still quivering. He's like, "Oh man, I just wish we had a little wasabi or something."
Just a little salt on it. Oh
no, thanks.
That's the good stuff for sure.
That was not for me, but yeah, that I've never had beluga whale. I'd probably try it. I'm not really adventurous in my eating, but a buddy of ours, Rick Capoza, you talk to him and he travels all over the world, does these exotic trips and exotic hunts. And he talks about some of the things that he's tried. And some of them I think have been just downright nasty. But it's the experience of trying, being in the local culture and trying it, I think is part of it. So,
well, if I didn't have those spotty flights, from Cambridge Bay to Yellowknife, I would have gone absolutely nuts on that stuff. But just the fact that I had, I knew I was in those cargo planes, didn't want some beluga whale getting dicey on me. I would have absolutely gone nuts. I just kind of limited enough to where I knew I wanted more.
Yeah. So, once again, congratulations. Polar Bear gets to panel.
Thanks, man.
Muskox gets to panel. Let's talk about this world record Tule Elk. Tell us about this hunt.
Sorry, what?
So where's home for you, Eric?
Knoxville, Virginia.
Okay, so you're flying across the country yet again to go hunt some Tule Elk.
So we went out to Sacramento. I booked in 2019 with Richard Erickson. Looking for Tule guys, it was either him or Don Martin. When I got on the Richard stuff, most of his stuff, his kills personally were bow kills. A lot of his clients had bow kills. Blake Patton got his bull on the same property. Just all those things kind of pushed me toward Richard a little bit more. I felt like he kind of had a little bit better feel for what a bow hunter needed. Booked the hunt with him, got everything going. Time comes, fly out to Sacramento, make the drive up to Laytonville, which is absolutely gorgeous. Spend the night there. Next morning I wake up and get to Richard's spot about 11 o'clock and, do the normal, get the camp thing. We shake gear out and shake hands and, tune the bows and, get gear shook out and all that good stuff. Get some lunch in us and we head over to the ranch. We suit up like we're going hunting. I got a tag in my back pocket, but really it's kind of a recon mission. Get her and check out the lay of the land, get a feel for what's going on, how they're moving, where they're coming from, where they're going. He actually sent us a video that morning of about a 280 class bull that was 30 yards off his porch, just trashing an apple tree. So it's, it's looking good. Right. And, I'm bugling, just going completely bonkers, 8 o'clock in the morning. We get out there, we set a couple blinds up. Richard's been hunting this piece of property for years, so exactly what they're up to. We kind of back off and just get under a shade tree, and we're just kind of shooting the breeze, and we're watching this little backdrop because the elk kind of retreat off to this. I guess it's like an Indian reservation or some Indian property that's behind the Amon Ranch, and they get up there in the middle of the day because it was 104, and they get up there to kind of get a little relief. There's more heat, there's some shade, but there's no water. So they have to come back to the ranch. It's a pretty legit setup. So we're sitting there and we don't even need binoculars. This thing's probably, 250 yards away. And Richard's like, I got a bull. I glance over and I immediately see the white whale tails. I mean, these things are opened up almost 180 degrees. It's like, that's solid. Let's see what the rest of them looks like. And the way he's coming down, there was like a bank of hay bales and the water tank. And Richard was like, okay, well, if he keeps coming down, he's going to come off this edge. And we're thinking, if we book ass over there, we can cut corner to the edge of the L, wait for him to kind of come by and angle the shot on him if he's going to the water tank. So we make the move and we get over there. Of course, we've not seen him yet. But we're treating him like he's the biggest thing in the world, which he turned out to be. And, we get there, we set up, and he kind of goes quiet. He wound up going behind some trees and kind of angling back over. And I don't know what he got up to. We kind of gave him 5 or 10 minutes, and then, Richard kind of threw a bugle at him. And he just immediately, he leads in with a chuckle. And then he bugles and he's raking stuff. Like, I'm getting the full experience. He's like right here. I'm seeing it shake. Like, the whole thing's happening. And he finally starts to move over along the line, basically to run parallel with the water tank. And then I catch a shot of his fronts. They kind of came up nice. They had the nice basket. So his backs are good. His fronts are good. Now I just need to see the whole thing. Then Richard was like, look, he's going to make his way across this ridge and drop down that cut and come up parallel with the water tank. So he's going to walk straight to it. We need to book over there. So we take off, and we're basically just the base of this huge oak tree. And sun's setting behind us, 10, 15 minutes go by. That's what it felt like. It was probably a minute and a half. And then I see him starting to step up. And as he comes up, each step just brings those tines kind of into the sunlight, And it's just picturesque, the way he looks. He's kind of got that lighter coat than like a Rocky does. And, he walks to the road and he kind of gives me the left, straight ahead, and then, to the right. And I'm seeing the whole thing. Of course, I have no idea what I'm looking at because it's my first elk. Yeah, he was just giving me the whole show. I could literally feel the composure drain out of my body. There was no scenario that I could ever put myself in to prepare myself for the animal that showed up. All the training was done, the shooting was done, the gear was on, flights were booked, all the boxes were checked, except actually having a world record animal in front of me. So he proceeds to come in on a string to this water tank. And I'm talking to Richard. I'm like, dude, this thing looks great. The whale tails are there. His symmetry's good. I like his mask. The thirds are a little shy, but, overall, this thing's checking all my boxes. Like, what do you think?
Hey, Dylan.
Cricket.
Dylan,
Crickets.
am I reading? Hold on, Eric, I got to, Dylan, like, when you're hearing him tell this story, like when a guy's talking about his world record elk, and he's like, oh, his thirds are a little short. Are you thinking, man, what a prick? Like,
well, when I'm evaluating this bull, like, I'm going through this checklist that I've put together in my head of boxes that I've got to check to let a shot go. And I'm just regurgitating all the things that I've heard YouTube guys say, but I'm asking Richard, I'm like, is this the bull? What am I looking at?
What was he saying?
Richard's
like, yes, it's the bull.
Long pause. And then he finally's like, it's a mighty pretty bull. And I'm thinking, he's right. And at this point, I don't care what he scores. I'm just going to put a shot on him. Draw the bow back. I shoot low by about 1.5 feet. Grazes his brisket. He jumps up, has no idea what's going on. Bucks about 3 or 4 feet, stops. Same shot, draw the bow back. This time I miss him completely just a whiff. He takes off again.
And
this time
how far is this? How far?
62 yards.
62. All right.
62-yard shot. Perfectly broadside. I mean, it's the shot you dream of, on that elk. completely blew it. Missed the second shot totally. Richard stops him with just his best attempt at a cow call. I had my bow dialed to 62. I aimed to touch on that third one. And I can remember drawing it back thinking, you know what? There's a big dollar sign on this arrow and you better not screw it up because you won't get another one. And I wound up getting him basically top of the heart on that one too. He went maybe 60 yards and that was it. I almost shook Richard to death when he hit the ground. I just couldn't believe it. And, we walked up to him and Richard's kind of a quiet guy. And, he looks at him for a minute. He's like, I got to tell you, man, he's like, I think he might be a new world record. And it's like, dealing with Richard over the course of a couple of years, I know him kind of well enough through conversation to know he wouldn't say something like that without it being a legitimate
possibility.
I just got the low battery. Sorry. Unless it was like a legitimate, thing. And it's like, wow. And, that's when it all kind of comes together. It's like, this is nuts. And, of course, the first few people I send pictures to are like, that's a monstrous bull, mid 330s. And, that's where he wanted to be. And it was, I remember Zach calling me up, telling me the final score. And it was, it's hard to kind of get your head around something like, especially, I consider myself a very novice bow hunter. So to have something like this happen, it's just lightning in a bottle, man. I can't, there's no really words to explain, how it feels.
Man, I'll tell you what, one thing I'm sitting here, I'm like, I don't ever want to go hunting with Eric because, dude, I would never see something that's good enough for him to let me shoot. He started a world record going, thirds are a little short. I'm like, imagine looking at the stuff that we shoot, Dylan. He'd be like, no, let's see. Yeah, firsts are short, the seconds are short. It doesn't have thirds.
Yeah. There are no thirds.
There are no thirds.
Yeah.
So no, that's and I'd probably tell that story just a smidge different because, like, where your guide was kind of calm under pressure, and like, that's a good bull. You're like, if I'd have missed a shot or two, I'd have literally said no. He was shaking me, telling me it was a world record. And
there's no way to church it up, man. I literally I couldn't handle the pressure of a world record animal, and I came apart. And it was a part of the nerves of just, I guess, being a more rookie bow hunter.
Something like that shakes anybody.
It's just, and normally I shoot pretty well. I normally hit what I'm shooting at, and this situation was different, and I was not up for it that day, but it worked.
Man, I'm glad it worked out because now we have something to talk about. That's so cool.
Absolutely.
Now, and so that was day one of that hunt.
All the hunts were day one hunts for that period. With the polar bear, I kind of camped out in the tent for 2 days, but when we actually got to hunting polar bears, we had the tent for 3.5 hours. So all my hunts were first day hunts.
Okay, I take it back. I do want to hunt with Eric.
It's exceptionally lucky, man. There's no. I'm not good enough to have this happen on purpose.
Yeah, that's like, I'll hunt with Eric because he's, obviously he's pretty good, but he's also lucky, it sounds like. And
that lucky, I'll take it every day. I'll take it every day of the week.
It's kind of like, it'd be like hunting with Jim Willems. Jim, what he passes, Dylan and I would like crawl over somebody to get, it's like, no. That's only a 175 whitetail. I don't want it. We'll take it.
No thanks.
We'll take it all day.
Yeah. We're putting the luck to the test here in about 3 weeks. I'm heading up to Jonah's place for brown bear. So that's going to be
nice.
That's going to be a good one. I booked that one back in 2022. So that's been a while coming.
Yeah. He's got a lot of animals in the books. So
yes, he does. And he's been about 100% for the last 3 or 4 years. So really looking forward to it. He's got me in a ground blind because I'm scared of heights. So I can't sit in a tree stand up there. But he's got me to the ground blind, so that's good because I really want to, have the room to get the recurve back and all that stuff. So taking the compound, but I really want it to happen with the recurve because if I could get 3 of the 4 with the recurve, that would just be a huge feather in the hat. So
yeah. Now, when you get there, are you going to put a little pressure on? Just say, hey, no pressure, or because he can handle it, or you wouldn't do it. But anyway, just no pressure. But gosh, my last 3 animals got invited to the Pope and Young panel.
Yeah. For just
no
in case
pressure. No pressure.
I've got some standards. We need to uphold those, keep the lifestyle to which I've become accustomed.
Hey,
Eric,
I just can't.
Being on this kind of recurve journey, what have you found to be the best animal to hunt with a recurve?
Well, bears are fun. obviously. I mean, the black bear, I got a black bear a couple months after the polar bear.
Black bears are made for recurves, in my opinion.
They really are, man. It's just so fun. Even this one, like he's a big bear. I mean, they don't have scales up there, but he was, he squared out at 7'2", almost 21-inch skull. And he came in like a linebacker, just doing that, posturing thing and huffing and, running all the other bears off. Eventually he's going to give you a shot, but it's just watching them, and they're going to come to the bait. They offer a good target, and it's just, they're fun animals to hunt. Plus they're predators, so it adds a little bit of danger, an element of danger to the hunt. So they're a lot of fun. Honestly, I'm not hunted enough with a recurve to really know. I chased 2 whitetail last year with a recurve. Never pulled the string back, and it was the best season I've had to date. Normally I've been hunting this park program in Fairfax because trying to get permission around here is borderline impossible. So I was hunting a Fairfax County Park program, basically like a deer management program. And when I was in there, I considered myself, for my first few years, an exterminator. For one, I just wanted to get all the practice I could with live animals. And plus I wanted to, kind of show these guys that I was serious enough to come back next year, because it's the only place I had to hunt. So that's really where I learned how to do what I'm, the bow hunting thing. But once I started playing with a recurve and seeing how challenging it is, it's like, man, that takes something that's already fun and it just adds another element of challenge to it. So for me, it really just ratchets it up a whole lot more. And it's, it's just it's more of an intimate experience when you're that close to something. And to me, that's hunting, man. It's so much fun.
How long have you been bowing?
I started in 17. It was my first year.
Dang.
What got you into it?
Well, I grew up in North Carolina, man, following my dad around the woods, and, I still have that wonderment in the woods that I had when I was a kid, whether it be finding that salamander or catching that bullfrog you were after, I still find that in the woods, but now it's, instead of salamanders and bullfrogs, it's, it's polar bears and elk. And it's just, it's still so much fun to get out there and just chase stuff. And, I'll stop when that goes away. But until then, it's going to be something I'm going to be doing. But the recurve it adds so much more to it. It's just so much. It's harder. When that opportunity does come, it's just, I don't know. I can't wait to take this thing to the deer woods this year and try to get them again. And if I don't, it's just going to be another year I don't. But it's just, the cat and mouse I had this year, there's a lot more cat than there was mouse. But, it was so much fun. Never drew the string back, never had an opportunity. But every time I was there, it could happen. But, we'll see more of that this year. But that's really how I got to the recurve stuff.
Now, was there an inspiration? Did you have somebody that you hunt with or that that was like, man, you ought to try a recurve? Or did you just find it on your own?
Well, really the first exposure I had to it was when I went to stick flingers, and that was, for me, it was a bow only camp, which is what I was interested in because those guys, had a feel for it. But when I get up there, everybody's shooting the recurve stuff. And, I get my hands on this thing. Mike at the time was shooting a self bow, and this thing looked like he put a string on a broomstick. And, he was just loving it. He was like, I can only shoot this thing 500 times before the bow's going to break. I got to make a new one. And it's like, wow, that guy's really, doing something a little bit different. And just the element of toughness to it kind of, had my appeal. And I got one and I played around with it for a while before I ever had the confidence to actually, go after an animal. But the first animal out was a cougar. And again, it's one of those situations where, you got the dogs working with you, and you sort of target stationary and, kind of a way to dip my toe in the water with the recurve stuff, without kind of going full on, just, deer woods by myself with it, kind of animal in front of me. I've been practicing and, just kind of get started that way. And from there, it was just, let me see if I can do this or see if I can do that. It's just, it's progressing, but it's fun.
Nice. And then what on your recurve, what kind of poundage are you shooting?
50, 49 to 50 at 29.5, 30. So it's,
okay.
Not overpowered, not underpowered. It's just, that Goldilocks zone, man, right in the middle. Not too hot, not too cold.
I know some of the guys that are just real diehard trad guys, they hunt everything with like a 45-pound bow. It sounds like.
I could lighten it up and be completely fine. Yep.
Huh. Yeah, it's Dylan's big into the trad stuff. So he's been talking about it for a long time. And it just, when you're around people who are excited about it, it's easy to get excited about it and start thinking.
Exactly.
So that's one of the things on my list. I might have to look into a recurve and
do it. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. It changes the game completely. It makes it so much different.
Jason, I was talking with Chuck the other day, and that Oklahoma hunt, me and him are both going to hunt with recurves. So you ought to start practicing.
We'll talk this afternoon. We'll see if we can't figure that out.
No, exactly what you're saying though. It makes the hunt that much more just, I don't know, natural, if you will.
Pure.
Like last year I had this deer at 24 yards. And with a compound, you're done. Like that's over.
Okay. Right.
But with my recurve, I started to draw back 3 different times and he would move or jump or turn. And
Right.
I was like, crap. So I let down and then he'd take another step and I'd draw, I'd get 12 inches back and he'd take another step and turn. I'm like, crap. And it just kept happening over and over again. And I'm like, it's just such like cat and mouse. I mean, that's exactly what it is.
It is. And it's so much fun.
Until I did end up last season, I missed a giant deer and I got mad. And so I pulled out my compound and shot deer the next morning because I was just mad. But
redemption.
I'm like, something has to die. I mean, I got to make up.
Got to get an arrow.
Sometimes you just have to punch a tag, man. There's some things only get fixed by punching a tag.
Right.
That's right.
So interesting. So and Chuck's in on that and he's agreed to that.
He's the one that said, I think I'm going to hunt with a recurve on that hunt. And I'm like, well, I am. So that makes 2 of us.
All right.
So what do you guys got coming up this year?
That's got to be I've got some really good stuff going on. I get to hunt in Wyoming with Bear Track Outfitters, TJ Tavigi.
Oh, there you go.
That's going to be a good hunt. I've hunted with him a couple years ago, had a great time. He put some great bucks in front of me, and then I choked and shot a little one. That's the only way to say it. It's like walks in. I knew it wasn't a taker. And then all of a sudden, if you throw your 10-power Swaros up on something at 19 yards, dude, it looks way bigger.
He thought he was shooting a world record.
Yeah, because like Eric, the difference between you and me is like you watch enough videos to completely understand field judging. And for me, I watched some videos about, how to field judge antelope. And I'm like, oh, apparently the big ones, they don't look as big because the mass is really good.
Right.
That's critical on an antelope. So I'm like, this little guy walks in. I'm like, oh man, maybe he's just got more mass, so he looks small because of no, he just was small.
no, he's just small.
And so anyway, but hey, we've all been there. Or well,
that's something I got to get after more.
Eric hasn't been there. Yeah. So that's a good one I'm excited about. And then I've got a hunt in Montana that if I draw would be a deer antelope combo. And then we've got, let's see, I usually hunt Wisconsin for a few days during the rut for whitetails.
Nice.
And Oklahoma. I mean, I get to go spend a few days in camp with Chuck Adams and
that's fun.
Learn from one of the best. So I'm excited. Tell
Chuck
that.
To stop killing all the blacktail.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. That guy is. I live in Oregon in blacktail country. Obviously not Sitka blacktail, but it's like people don't realize. I think a lot of folks don't realize that. Like growing up hunting here, seeing sometimes 50 deer, 50 bucks in a day. And I could count on one hand, maybe on just a few fingers, the number of times I've seen non-typical Columbia blacktails.
Really?
And so when you start looking at really what it takes to go do, what he's doing, which is targeting, this last time targeting those non-typicals, it's pretty impressive because they're not, they're just not easy to find.
Not hanging off trees.
No. And there's just pockets here and there that have them and a lot of, you can see, I've seen thousands upon thousands of bucks and maybe 3 non-typicals, nothing that would be record class.
Right.
Just little oddball stuff. So
I'm looking forward to after him. I got to get that. And I'm still missing out from my deer slam. So I'm trying to put something together for 24, 25. Nothing on the books yet, but it's in the works. You have anything this season? What's stuff? Just the brown bear coming up. I might have elk in New Mexico, and that's really all I've got right now until 24. And I've got woodland caribou up at Ray's place.
Okay.
So for this, really right now the goal for me is Super 10. Financially, I don't think the super slam could ever happen. And as it stands right now, I'm short the caribou and the sheep. So
Okay.
Those are the two. Those are the two I'm missing. So those are the goals. Short term for now. I'll keep checking them off. Maybe down the road if things change, the Super Slam might be there. But for now, the Super 10's a goal.
Yeah, that's great. And it's so with your bear, have you been watching a lot of the brown bear videos on what you're looking for? You know exactly.
I can get my hands on. Yeah, I'm doing reruns at this point, and it's just really I'm just hoping one comes in and give me a shot. Because they're notorious for coming in and just looking at you and then just making a quick move and getting out of there. So hopefully I just get one that comes in that's oblivious enough to the blind that he gives me that pocket and maybe we get a shot off. So we'll just see. I got 8 nights, and those guys are getting it done. So I think it's going to happen. But just got to be prepared. Coming off that last Tule hunt, it's kind of shaky to come off one like that and just that's the last one in your pocket. So it's
right.
Got to shake that off and get back on the bike, so to speak, and hopefully
you got to shake off killing a new world record. That
just
got to shake it off.
Business. Yeah.
That's something else. I don't know. I haven't had to shake that off yet. Yeah. So brown bear and you're doing that from a ground blind.
From a ground blind, yeah. And it's one of those things I ask him about the hang-ons, and I just can't sit and hang on. I feel like a bear on a tricycle when I'm in a hang on like that. If it was a ladder stand, it wouldn't be a problem. But he's like, there's no problem about a ground blind we put you in. I was like, that is absolutely perfect. And they run a lot of ozonics, so I guess they're keeping the scent to a minimum there, which is obviously the biggest concern. But I feel good about it. I do a lot of research when I book these hunts because I'm not a big money guy that could just make it rain. When one doesn't go my way. So I feel like, when I put money on a hunt, it's with the guy that I'm going to have the high success rate with. And for brown bear with a bow, I think it's Jonah. And we're going to see here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. He's been doing stuff with us for a long time. Big PNY.
Yeah. He's all over. He's all over. I think it'd be tough to find.
Yeah, he did one a couple of years ago just for our measures. We called him up and we said, "Hey, we want to do a raffle for our measures. Could you hook us up with a bear hunt?" And so he did a bear hunt just for our measures. That was pretty cool.
That's super cool. How they make out?
What's that?
How they make out?
I don't know if I ever heard. We're terrible about that. We do,
yeah.
50 hunts a year, 60 hunts a year, all these raffle hunts.
Yeah, I'm sure you could probably lose track pretty quick.
And it's just hard. Sometimes you just don't get, we ask people, we're like, hey, give us some photos. We'll get them in the magazine. We'll get them on the website. And sometimes we just don't get them. Just don't connect.
Or somebody sends us photos, but we never connect the dot. Like, they'll send us photos and like shot this bear in Montana last year. And if they were to say, hey, I won this at an auction or at a raffle, then it'd be dope. But sometimes they just don't. They're just like, hey, I shot this in Montana last year. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome, dude. Congrats.
Cool.
And we just never connect the dots. But
Next.
We were walking through Dallas and we had this guy chase us down, literally run us down. And he was like, guys, my boy won a hunt from you guys last year on one of your youth raffles.
Yeah.
Look at all these photos of these deer he shot. And I'm like, oh
that's
my
awesome.
gosh. Like,
he was from South Africa. Yeah.
Yeah.
And his son.
That's super cool.
Thing. Yeah. Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
he literally
cool.
chased us for quite a while in the.
That's awesome.
That was at SCI. That was at
Nashville.
At Nashville. Yeah. That was a good show. So that's so if you could pick any of the 29 species to just be like, that's the one that I would love to have, which one would it be?
I already got him. It's the goat, mountain goat.
It's the goat. Okay.
It's the mountain goat, man. I don't think one could ever top it. There's something about the goats. I mean, horn wise, they're not very impressive, but there's something about a mountain goat, the way he looks, the way they behave, the hunt, like what it takes to get them. It's just the mountain goat for sure. It's favorite mount, favorite animal. Yeah. I'd love to go hunt another one. Probably won't do it, but it's just everything it takes to get him from where he is to where he is now. Yeah. It's right up my alley. And the training that goes into it, the shooting, the mountain goat for sure.
That's
followed closely by some form of sheep, probably stone. because they're just
Okay.
gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I'm not in the right tax bracket to be a sheep hunter, and I'm not lucky enough to draw a tag. So it's,
I'm gonna roll the dice on that one once at some point, but it'll probably be, retirement age.
Yeah.
But
no.
I gotta cross the T's and dot the I's at some point.
Yeah. There's something neat about them. Like when you're around like the mounts or things, it's just, there's something pretty cool about sheep. And then I got to participate in a study we did with Wild Sheep Foundation and some other partners, tri-state deal where we did some blood testing, put some radio collars on some sheep.
Oh, that's cool, man. That's super
cool. They're sure neat creatures. It's just different than, it's different. Like an elk is big, but the sheep, they're just not a huge animal, but where they hang out and the limited access to them is just,
I heard a story of a guy, and the sheep comes off the mountain during the rut, and it makes eye contact with the glass doors of their lodge. So it sees his reflection, bust through the glass door and wreaks havoc in this lodge. And they had like these big glass, like in the wall, big glass, like one was like a sheep mount, and one was some ducks flying, and some other and it kept seeing its reflection in those glass and just ramming that glass and like just tore up this lodge. And so he was like, we need to bring in more sheep hunters so we can kill these sheep. So
wow,
dude, they're crazy animals though.
Super cool looking too. Super cool animals.
Yeah. I don't know if they're on my list or not. I mean, it'd be great, but there's just so many cool things to chase.
Yeah, it's all fun. There's so much stuff.
Yeah.
It's hard to pick one. I mean, it's like saying, what's your favorite movie? They all have a little something different. So it's hard to put, your finger on just one.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, what would that be? Would it be Braveheart or Gladiator? I mean, how do you pick between those two?
Ooh, Braveheart.
Depends on the day.
Man, I had to go with Braveheart, man, because the first name my family name shows up in history. The first time my family name shows up in history is on a petition to support Robert the Bruce's claim to the throne of Scotland. So that's really? Pretty sweet. Yeah. Like cool. After he got the throne of Scotland, he knighted Alexander de Bethune, and then he married some fancy pants French girl, and they were the Bethunes of Belfort. So we got a town and everything. So yeah, I got to go Braveheart on that one, man. I got a little connection to that story. Yeah,
that is cool.
Highlander blood.
I wonder if I have any towns named after me. Probably not.
We got a fancy church in the whole joint. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know if you need any credentials, but after last year, if I need some to show that I'm part of the family, I've got them.
Yeah.
I'm going to start telling people that I'm going to start telling people I know the people that Braveheart was written about. Like
that's a true story.
I'm going to start telling people.
Some people connected to it for sure. That's awesome.
Well, we're not going to.
When I read that, I was like, no way.
I'm not going to say that are connected to it. I'm just going to say straight up, like I know the guys.
I know those dudes. Know that guy. I think he got started. I was looking up the coat of arms because I was like, I was bored at work. I was like, I'm going to get a coat of arms tattoo on my chest or something, and our coat of arms, it has like otters on it. It's super not cool, but the story's awesome. So I'll take it.
Yeah.
It is cool.
I don't know. Otters are pretty cool. I was fishing last week.
Otters are huge. I never knew how big they were until I got to Alaska. And these things are cruising around like 6 feet long. It's like, that dude's enormous. Yeah. I thought they were like my dog. I thought they were like tiny, but no way, man. They're big.
Yeah, those sea otters are huge.
They are. Hey, listen, fellas, I'm getting a low battery notice here, man. It might dump me here soon.
All right. Well, we'll get the question in, Eric.
Okay.
We have to ask everybody. Yep. What's one thing when you find yourself in the Arctic or out in a ground blind chasing brown bears, whatever you're doing, what is one non-traditional item that you like to find in your pack? You just don't want to live without.
Non-traditional item?
Yeah, something, it can't be a knife or binoculars. It's got to be something. What's it?
Plackers, the little floss things. Must have them. Something in my teeth drives me absolutely bananas. They go on every trip. That and Nexium. Got to have them.
Okay.
That and what? Gotcha. What was the second thing?
Nexium. if I eat anything with tomato sauce in it, I'm just breathing lava. It is terrible.
Hurts
Plackers,
like heck. Still worth it though, isn't it?
It's worth every bit. Yeah.
Yeah. That's all my favorite food involves tomato sauce.
Something of the sort for sure.
None of it likes me back. Yeah. Same boat. Well, that's awesome, man. It's we've had a lot of good answers over the history of the show. So bacon has been a good one. A lot of snacks. Bacon? Yeah, okay. Bacon was a good one.
The bacon gets stuck in your teeth. You got to have the plackers to get it out.
So you need that.
You got to have the plackers. That's where it all comes back to.
Yeah, that's where Uncrustables came from.
Yes.
Well, that's where they originally. Yeah, Nick Munt brought up Uncrustables, but it was Conrad Shelley who actually brought Uncrustables to convention.
Oh wow, so, that's some dedication. You love your Uncrustables.
That is some dedication. Yeah, we appreciate that. Anyway, well, Eric, hey man, congratulations on some outstanding trophies and obviously a new world's record. That is just amazing. I can't wait to see what you send down to Arizona in 2 years, man.
I hope so. And I'll definitely catch you guys there because that was a blast. And this time I took the family with me, so I was stretched kind of thin trying to keep them entertained because they can only hear me tell the same hunting story so many times. But next time we'll definitely be, more sociable. But we'll
awesome.
Get there hopefully.
Sounds good. Cool, well, I enjoyed meeting you. And thanks for jumping on here today. Quick shout out to folks over at Tacticam for sponsoring the podcast. We appreciate you. And Eric, thank you so much. Congratulations. And we'll have to do this again on your next world's record.
Absolutely, fellas. I appreciate it. And best of luck this season, you guys.
You too.
Awesome, fellas. Later.